All right, everyone. While Coach is sitting down there, we're going to let Coach make an opening statement. Then I'll open it up for questions, and you can just use the raise hand function or shoot me a message, and I'll call on you. All right, Coach, we're ready for you.
Just want to start out, it's been almost a complete year since we've been here. And when Coach Rutledge and President Amy and Dr. Compost introduced me that day at that beginning press conference, we were very committed to starting in the San Antonio area and recruiting ourselves out. And we feel very confident, counting Bryce, we have 9 San Antonio area kids in our first complete class since we've been here. We obviously put together a really good class our first year, our first 3 months on the job, but it was a really sped up process. We got a full year to do this. Even though it was in a pandemic, we at least got a year to do it. So we were committed to doing that. So that's where it starts. We're currently the #1 ranked class in the conference as we speak right now. And it starts at the very top. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that nobody really knows. And I said it then, it's going to take every one of us to pull this off, all of us. And from our fan base to our boosters who just kept coming through time after time, anything we ever needed, they just keep getting that done for us. Our Texas high school coaches, our parents, there's our video, Alex Nicasio and his team, our creative team, Charles Davis, all the graphics that go out that y'all see all the time. Our strengths to academics. We have professors that jump on. President Amy jumps on. Everybody just helps. Our media is very supportive. Obviously, I understand everybody has a job to do, and criticizing me at times is part of that job. But it's still very supportive media, and I'm grateful for that. Our recruiting, Joe Price is as good as anybody in the country. He's our director of player personnel. All of his recruiting assistants, Brian, Jacob, McKenna, who back there do tireless hours of work. Kevin Brown, our DFO, who just goes above and beyond at all times. He knows the city. He knows the coaches better than anybody. Kyle Stevens, who always gets me ready for these things, gets me briefed what's coming. So there's just so much that goes on behind this. And I can't wait. 1 year down and looking forward to many more to go.
All right, JJ, you want to start us off?
Jeff, what does it mean to you to have the #1 class currently?
What's most important to me, JJ, really is how we develop them the next 4 years. And I mean that. That's what I said when I interviewed for the job. And it's taking them from young men to men and how we develop them. There's nobody I feel better with at our staff and Ryan Philo that we will do that. But it sure does help when they start off really good to begin with. So a lot of work went into it. We're excited. We still have numbers left. We're not done. We still got some more work to do. But we're really excited about it because so many people take pride in that, right? President Amy texted me last night, won't know where we were. And our players, have bought in so much and trying to help us recruit these kids. So our players believe, JJ, because they've seen it, we're going to play everybody. We're going to do our best to play our roster, right? We're going to rotate kids and play a lot of kids. So they know that I demanded them to play as hard as they can at all times. So they really don't mind resting. They like having good backups. So they've helped us with this class tremendously.
Okay, Evan.
Oh, I'm on mute. Okay, now I'm back. How you doing, Coach? Great to see you. But before I break down everything, the nitty gritty here, just what does it mean to kind of cap off the day with Bryce Wisdom, signing him? I know this is a special day for his family and just having that recognition.
I've told y'all before, he was my favorite recruit. When I first got the job here, Coach Brown took me to see Bryce. I did that as a favor to Rashad and Coach Brown. I didn't know I was going to fall in love with the kid and look forward to, so many conversations and just laughing and cutting up and having such a great time. And, so it means the world to me. I know it brought a smile to Richard and Diana's face and Rashad, and I'm glad to be a part of that. And he is a part of our class. Those kids really, they love Bryce and they want this. And I was glad to help. And when Diana sent me some pictures, she sent me 19. And so we had to choose which ones we were going to use in the graphic. And man, that one of Coach Coker, and Rashad and him. I don't know how many years ago that was. That was just awesome. So when I sent that picture to Coach Coker, I can imagine how proud Larry is getting that picture.
And then also just recruiting in San Antonio as a whole, coming in here, you mentioned being a little more than a year now acclimated. Just how do you feel like you've done defending the city and keeping your best players here on your turf?
Well, you never get all of them, Evan. There's always a couple, but there are not many that got away from us. I mean, we got 8, and we're really thrilled about that. 9, counting Bryce, of course. And, when you get 2 from Cibolo and 4 from Judson and 1 from Brandeis and 1 from Harlan and 1 from Canyon, you've done really well for yourself. And I told y'all when I was hired, my goal was to try to sign 5 to 8 every year, try to get, 5 to 8 walk-ons every year. And if we can get our roster, 60, 65 San Antonio kids, and we're winning ball games, Evan, that Alamo Dome, as soon as this pandemic lets off of us, it's really going to be rocking again. I believe that with all my soul. I believe it's today I got hired, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And then the last question for me is just how tough has it been recruiting this cycle during the pandemic? And do you feel like you guys were able to weather the storm and get the players that you wanted and see enough of them?
Well, I think y'all know me well enough. I've heard a lot of coaches gripe and say there's going to be more mistakes made in this class because, they're not getting camps. You're not getting to evaluate them. I look at it the other way. I mean, what about some of these kids, that are down south and in our area, that if they would have got them to count, some of these Power 5 guys might have came in here and tried to steal them from us even harder, right? Because I know we got some guys and we have guys that choose us over Power 5s, but it sure is nice when they don't even know about them and all they know about is us. And right, so I'm looking at it the other way. How many steals did we get out of this deal? Because they don't even know about them that we knew about them. So I'm going at it that way. I think it really hurt me personally. You know how relational I am, how much I love people, and my staff is very relational. And it's really hard to make somebody feel how you really care through a screen. And so that I hate that. That's been awkward for me, uncomfortable for me. But I feel really, really good about this class. And like I said, it's our job to develop them now. In 4 or 5 years, we'll know the truth.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you, Evan.
Hey, Greg?
Jeff, you mentioned that you guys are number 1 in the rankings. How closely do you pay attention to those metrics? What do those mean? How much is that worth?
I've never looked at it. I don't look at it. But, President Amy loves to look at it, right? So when the president hits you up the night before signing day, what do? You call JJ. So I got up this morning early. I'm like, JJ, I have no clue where we are. Tell me it's good news because the president wants to know. JJ says, as of right now, Coach, you're leading on both polls. I'm like, well, that's not fair. I still got 3 kids to sign. I won't do that till the end. JJ's like, that's just the way it is. So we're not done yet. And that what matters the most. It's fun right now. It gives us all something to do. It makes people happy. It rewards my coaches. They've been working their tails off. All these people here that I named and listed a while ago have been working their tails off. And let's be honest, that's why y'all hired me, right? Y'all heard I could recruit. So I better go do that or y'all probably won't keep me very long.
To your point there, you have a lot of guys signed. How much flexibility do you have to, any transfers that emerge or anything else that comes in the next couple months?
We have 3. We've got the flexibility to move 3 things around right now, which we're adjusting, and that's always something. But I'm going to always save that, like last year, picking up, Mekhi Hart, Charles Wiley, Brendan Dingle, those kind of kids. When you find them, you're late, and they're day 1 starters. Those are huge impacts, especially last year, right? If there's ever been a time we learned how important depth is, last year was it. And we want a roster that we're really deep. And we've addressed that. We really felt like we had to get that linebacker room. We were so blessed that Trevor and Tyler and Jamal Lee, a true freshman, they just held that down for us the entire year, which that's the most physical spot on the whole field. And those 3 kids had to hang in the whole year for us. So we really addressed that room as well.
And then I want to ask about with Dre Spriggs and especially DeAnthony Lewis, you added a couple of local guys here late. What can you tell me about those 2 players and about the process of getting them in here?
Well, they've been a battle, that's for sure. We've been on them for a long time. We jumped on them quick, and Dre and DeAnthony drugged me all the way to the very end. There's no doubt about that. But I'm glad we hung in there. The same with Caleb, Caleb Lewis. And really excited. I mean, Dre's very dynamic, has special talent. The catch he made in the All-Star game was really big time. And DeAnthony, I thought he's one of the best backs in the country this entire time. We just didn't know if he'd still be around at this time, so we saved the number just in case. And I think our loyalty to DeAnthony paid off in the end. And I will say all the Judson kids and our San Antonio kids have done a great job recruiting for us. From Rashad to Xavier to Sincere, they've all really done a great job. You know, you've got so many connections. Brendan, Brady reaching out to get us, with Caleb Lewis. There's just so many on our own roster that, because I tell these parents and these recruits, they need to do their own research, right? They need to speak to my own players to see what we're really like. It's easy to be like this on this screen right now. What do we really like behind the scenes? So my players could testify to that. And they did a great job helping us recruit.
Okay, Ryder, you're up.
Coach, you briefly spoke about your connections with Judson, with Rashad and Xavier and Sincere. You had 4 players from Judson on your roster last season, and you just signed another 4 from there in this signing class. What about players from there appeal to you the most?
Well, it starts from many moons ago. Great respect for D.W. Rutledge, Frank Arnold, what those guys, have done in the THSCA. That's where my tree comes from there. I work for Danny Long, who worked for Dennis Parker, who worked for D.W. Rutledge. So I'm a distant relative of that, but I'm in that tree of coaching. So that's how we do our boot camps. I know how they run everything. They're about the team. They're very selfless, and they've won a lot of football games, and they're really close, and they love us. There's a loyalty there where they feel really strongly about UTSA, and they're very committed to the Alamo Dome and that thing getting rocking again. Probably Jarvion Williams helps on that as well. So there's just a loyalty there between both parties that I'm very fond of.
And you talked about how you don't pay attention to the number 1 recruiting rankings and everything. But in your mind, when you hear that from writers and me and the people that actually pay attention to that, in your mind, what does that say about the culture of the program you're building in here and how recruits are responding to that?
Obviously, it's always good, right? We're competitors at heart. And no, I don't keep up with it. And even President Amy asked me why I don't, because every moment I'm looking at that, it is moments I could have been recruiting. That, how our culture is. We're going to control the controllables. We're going to try to win the day. Well, if I'm out chasing squirrels and chasing rabbits, and I know JJ's going to tell me anyway. I mean, Greg, they're going to hold me accountable. I'm going to get told. I'm going to get told anyway. So it would not be smart of me to waste my time, because I can't control it. Right? I don't know how y'all are going to rank my kids. I don't know what that's going to look like. We really trust our eyes. We trust our Texas high school coaches, buddies, when they give us a recommendation, and we go. We don't look at the rankings and then go recruit. We recruit and let y'all do the rankings. I really trust my own eyes. I didn't win all these games my whole life by being the best coach, but I can spot talent, and I know how to develop talent. And my players respect that about me. I'm going to turn loose and let them go play. And when you win and you love your coach and the coach loves you, it's just a lot of fun.
All right, and last question from me. You have 3 transfers coming in from other programs this signing class. How much do you expect them to contribute right away?
Well, as you can tell by the way we did it, I was concerned because we didn't have camps. I think we signed 13 high school kids. We tried to keep that number a little lower. We went higher on the junior college and the transfer. We knew those kids. We had already had those kids in camp. We had real information on them, right? So that was intentional. We also had some real areas of need on our roster. So you don't recruit an older kid unless you expect it to come in and play really quick, right? So those guys know they've got a real chance to play. And our current team understands that too. It's the weirdest deal in the world. Our job is to out-recruit them, and they help us do that. And it makes for great competition. We're going to get them all out there the best we can and let them all play, and it'll all work itself out.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, JJ, back to you.
Jeff, can you give us an update on the super seniors and how many guys are coming back? I think only 2 guys have announced publicly that they're returning.
Yeah, we're going to start putting out graphics pretty quick. Those guys have got an extended time to announce because of the NFL's new policy. So we don't want to get anybody's hopes up and then them change their mind. Right now, we're looking at anywhere from 8 to 12. And we'll start putting out graphics so you guys will know for sure when that is. We feel pretty confident all of those that we talked about are going to come back. But we're going to start putting that out. We're going to treat them just like they're getting recruited again. We're going to give them graphics, love them up, let y'all know, and try to make a big deal out of it so they'll know how grateful we are. They're trusting me and our staff to come back one more time.
Last week you promoted Coach Wright and Coach Lepp to co-defensive coordinators. What led to that decision?
The way they handled it, that was a really tough situation on that Friday the 13th. We had to play UTEP the very next day. And for the next 6 weeks, I saw absolutely no drop-off in our kids' performance, the way they prepared. And also it's a big mantra of mine, JJ. As long as I've been coaching, I want to develop my young guys. I want my GAs. I want my volunteers. I want my analysts. I want my position coaches to know we're going to move up within here. We're going to move up within. We feel strongly enough about our culture and how we coach that there are great coaches on our staff. So guess what that does? That means that you're better. Your entry-level guys are better. Your position coaches are better because they all know they're being evaluated every day. They might get that bump. And our plan is to win so much here that those Power 5 guys come in here and take my coaches from me. We're going to have guys within our staff that I can move up and we don't miss a beat. So just like y'all didn't see any difference. When y'all watched us play those last 6 weeks, same defense, same calls, same attitude, same strategy. And I want to keep that in our building. It's good for everybody. It's good for the players, good for the coaches. And it's obviously good for Jess Lepp and Rod Wright. I'm so thrilled for both those guys. They're high character men that have paid their dues, paid their time. They've been very loyal to me. And I was glad I could reward them.
Is your coaching staff complete, or do you still have to add another coach, or will you do that from internally?
No, we've interviewed guys internally, and we're also interviewing guys for that linebacker spot as well, JJ.
Okay, Greg.
Jeff, how does the co-defensive coordinator thing work? Does one of them particularly call the plays, or how is that sort of arranged?
Yeah, we've got that arranged a certain way. There's no doubt about it. Just the way we do it. And none of y'all like to hear it, but we do it all as a staff before the game ever gets there. I mean, we know what we're going to call when we get in the game. If they get on a hash, certain down, certain distance, certain formation, we're going to know what we're going to call there. And so it doesn't matter who actually calls it. Rod calls it at times. Jess calls it at times. We've got Nick Graham calls it at times. I mean, we all at times make the call. It's always a collaborative effort. But, the person that y'all are going to be interviewing at the end of the game is going to be Jess Lepp and Rod Wright. They're the ones responsible for it.
And where do you guys stand with finalizing contracts for your assistant coaches? I know those all were set to expire this month. Has that been pretty smooth, or how many of those are already done?
I've turned in all that to Dr. Compost. I've heard no hiccups. I know all my guys are ready to roll, and I'm sure I don't check on that. If my guys were not satisfied, they'd be letting me know. So I'm sure everything's running really smooth. I'd be hearing about it.
Was that an easy process on your end, just kind of setting that up with them? I know when you guys have a good season, they might get a lot of interest from other places as well.
We have had guys that they tried to pick from us, but we've done a really good job of taking care of those guys. And we feel like we're going to be able to roll into the season with who we have. But you know how that is. I mean, I field calls. I had a call yesterday from a coach about one of my guys. And, I was honest and told the truth. And I hope we don't lose him, but that's just part of the business. I get it. If we don't have guys that are calling here after, we're not doing a very good job of me, picking the coaches.
Okay, Hector, you can close this out.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Hey, Hector, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Coach. Hey, got to follow up on Mr. Lewis. So when you're recruiting a guy like DeAnthony, and I don't pretend to ask that you're going to kind of share with us the specifics of what you say to him, but when he's got the kinds of schools that he's got after him, I'm wondering the dynamic of your pitch to a guy like that who's got those kinds of options available to him, how it varies from maybe other pitches.
Yeah, well, it's pretty simple. We've got a lot to sell here. That Alamo Dome's pretty cool. UTSA is pretty cool. San Antonio is pretty cool. That new $45 million building is really going to be cool, right? So you can go off and just be one of the others, or you can stay home and build your own hometown up. So when you drive around, there's pictures of you up where you can see your own self all over town. This city's very loyal to their people. This is a very loyal community. This city takes great pride. It's a family community. It's a big city. You know, we're the 7th largest city in the country, but it's a very small town feel. And our kids feel that, and they're attracted to that. Where if you go out to Southern California, I don't think they're going to know who DA is. I mean, I hope they would, but I don't think they're going to. You go up to Nebraska, think they're going to love you up there in Nebraska like we love you here in San Antonio? It's the 2-1-0 triangle of toughness. Heck, we're going to stay here and make this thing great. It was a slam dunk. No, it really wasn't that easy at all. And we're glad we got him, Hector.
When you get a guy like that, coach, and then you got a guy, and then, you know, Spencer was able to join a couple of years ago when guys like that to have other options. I'm assuming that's a tool, a resource that you can use going forward for future guys who are in those situations who maybe have the offers from Power Fives.
Right. You can look at our graphics, right? I mean, did you see the graphic of DeAnthony? You had Jarvion Williams on there. You had Sincere McCormick on there. How much do you see Marcus Davenport? There are so many people we have that are just adding to our brand that make it easier to convince these guys this is the place to be. And let's just say this, Hector, and we talked about this as a staff. I can't name any of their names, but some of those guys we're really, really close to that they did decide to go Power 5. But we still have an unbelievable relationship with their parents, with them. We treated them very good to the very end. So in a year or two, it might not be going good there, right? They're going to pick the phone up, call Coach Traylor, say, can we come back home? And we're going to welcome them with open arms.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate y'all. God bless.
Yeah.
BirdsUp.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Jeff.